Hey, it is Zennial Gamer back with another auto win video for you guys. Unfortunately, I spent an hour recording this video without actually hitting the record button. Anyway, guys, so today we're going to be actually talking about Leo, Carlos, and X. And you guys can see now I used this team earlier in G3 Siege. Worked very well. I have been testing this team out for a little while, and I've actually said on stream, when I first pulled Carlos, he kind of reminded, there you go, Carlos going off. When I first pulled him on stream, I actually said he kind of reminded me of like a 4-star Tanya. We are, of course, going to be looking at some gameplay with Carlos, but I wanted to share the replay from today's Siege with you guys. Unfortunately, I lost the second half of it. That's when I went to re-record and then never turned the record back on. But as you guys could see, he was rocking in G3 Siege. Now, I've been known to say on stream at times that Carlos reminded me of a 4-star Tanya. In a lot of ways, that's true. So when I first saw Carlos, and you guys can see his stats up on screen, but we're going to go through his kit first. When I first saw Carlos, now the skill 1, it's just a generic, attacks 2 times, has an HP block with 50%, and then some additional damage. Skill 2 is actually really powerful. It brands on the first hit. So you get 1 chance to brand, but it's 100% chance. So no activation rate. And then it hits 3 more times. So obviously artifacts come into play, especially for a monster with his type of base stats and with the builds we can do from him. The artifact damage is absolutely crazy. And then the skill 3, which has this weird kind of lips emblem over here. It's called Collect Weapons, and it looks like it's kissing something. Anyway. I don't know what that icon's supposed to be, actually, but it does look like a giant pair of lips kissing another pair of lips. Anyway, okay, should we cut that out of the video? Should we leave it in? I don't know yet.
20 minutes later.
Alright, so Collect Weapons passive. What this does, it increases his attack bar by 75%. So it's not an instant turn, but it's significant. Every time an enemy dies, it doesn't have to be him who gets the kill. And he absorbs their base attack power. His attack power can increase up to 300%. It's not clear if that's 300% of his base or his total. I'm not sure it really matters. But he absorbs the base attack power of the enemy. Now the interesting thing here is typically the enemy monster that you'll target, if there is an attack type monster on the enemy team, like a Perna or something like that, because he's taking base, it doesn't matter how they're built. But that's usually the monster you target first because they're also usually built the squishiest, so his attack power increases quickly. Now, in terms of when I said he reminds me of a Tanya, you think about just like a really generic, you could do Galleon, Tiana, Tanya. Tanya being the 4-star wind weapon master. So you take the Galleon, you take the Tiana for the strip, the Galleon for the defense break, and then Tiana kills a monster, takes an instant turn, kills another monster. A lot of monsters that actually do that kind of mechanic in some form or another where they get to cycle some extra kills. Stella doesn't take an instant turn, but her cooldown doesn't reset, things like that. Ralph takes an extra turn and so on. So it didn't strike me as all that unique. If anything, it struck me as a little underpowered in that he only got 75% attack bar. And the fact is, if you've already killed one enemy monster, the attack power increase didn't seem all that impactful to me when you're thinking about all this setup. And then I had the idea of using him with Leo. So, if we come back to this build, and you see how I've got him set up right now. Now, honestly, I think he's probably about 5,000 HP short. I'm still testing him around. He does plenty of damage. He does plenty of damage even before he started to absorb enemy damage. He does plenty, even without setup. So, I'd like him just a little bit tankier to make sure he stays alive. But, again, you're building him like a Leo without resistance, basically. Doesn't need any speed whatsoever. You want him tanky. 76 crit rate. I forgot to mention the leader skill here also is really nice. So he gets a common crit rate leader buff, which means it works everywhere. So if you want to use him in siege content and an arena offense, you can use his leader skill in both. You may need the, depending on what AOs you're using, you may need a speed lead, but usually if you're using him with Leo, the speed lead won't matter, so you get to take his crit rate lead, helps you build your Leo better also. But in the meantime, we only need 76 crit rate on him, so we can just go all out HP attack, defense, and crit damage. And then make sure you get some accuracy in there as well. Now in this build, you guys saw he hits up to 30k with no setup. Now, the skill 2 does do more damage as the enemy's HP condition is bad, with no setup. which is pretty insane. Now, one other thing to note here, guys, obviously it's nice when you have a team like when I did the Fang Tyrannus Vela video, and you can bring that team into practically everything. Carlos Leo X is not that team, so you can't just bring this team in everywhere. This team's going to be great to counter anything Beast Rider because of the Leo. Obviously, Savannah's the main Beast Rider you see on defense. You will see Barbara on occasion. Remember that Barbara is going to be going into your Carlos, so you're going to need to bring some sort of death prevention if you use that team against the Barbara. Now, this team right here, for example, pretty dangerous because, again, Carlos is now tanking the main damage dealer on the enemy side, which is the Mo Long. And Carlos also can't really kill the main damage dealer. Now you could get around that by using a Triana or less free to play, a Nana or some sort of stronger revive unit. But it's risky again, like if you use the Triana, Mo Long can multi-hit. If he procs in just the wrong way, your Carlos still dies through the passive. Generally speaking, the Leo Carlos X is not going to be a great counter to Mo Long teams. On the other hand, anything Perna is food for Carlos, and when I say food, she's literally feeding him attack. So this team right here, we've got the Luis, we've got the Shazam, and we've got the Perna. Actually, a pretty, you got an OP LD5, at least I personally think Shazam is pretty close to OP. Really strong siege content monster in the Luis and then the Perna. So what we want to do here is bring in, basically, the only way we have to worry about getting nuked out is if that Perna procs a ton into Carlos. But the Perna shouldn't go into Carlos because it's going to be going into the Leo. And there's no strip on the enemy side. So we could actually just throw a Fran right in here. Best free-to-play solution we have. Carlos is going to just farm right through that Perna, even if it does have the immunity from the Luis. It won't actually matter. So we can go straight into the Perna now. Really should not matter. So Shazam comes out, doesn't do anything yet. Now, Shazam does have the defense break. I can't remember if I said there's no defense break. They do have defense break. They have no strip. Carlos is going to go in. Ooh, wow. That's such a thick shield from that Luis. Shouldn't matter. I don't think it'll matter. Let's go ahead and just heal up our Leo, though. All right. So I said the Carlos would eat right through the Perna. Might take a little bit longer than I actually expected, but I still think that we're completely fine over here. We'll actually go ahead and just cleanse the Leo. No reason to not. Nice proc to give us an attack buff. And now here we go. This should be the first kill. Now Carlos just picked up attack bar to let him cycle. He also just picked up some extra attack. And now we can actually maybe go through the Shazam pretty close. Would the correct play there have been to go through the Perna? Yeah, but I just wanted to see if we could do it or not. Basically did get through the Shazam. I mean, we needed the Leo hit, but we just took out that Shazam with no defense break right there. All right, so this is another defense where the Leo Carlos X would work because there's no strip. So that's you're gonna notice the theme as we go through all of these fights. It's basically if there's no strip or if there's no AoE strip and we can control the strip to go to another unit other than Carlos, we're usually going to be fine because Carlos is going to be in a tanky enough build that he doesn't get killed by AoE stuff. We just have to make sure that nothing goes into him and defense breaks him. And then whatever we bring as the X has got to manipulate the AI to ensure that Carlos is not the one getting hit. So for example, right here, on this Han team, all we would do is bring in a light monster. Now, of course, if you have Julianne, that would be really perfect right there. But again, something simple like a Fran, because there's no strip on the enemy side, would work. Something with a little bit more heal, like the Shoo would also work. And then, of course, if you have premium LD4, stuff like a Molly or a Kinky would also work really well. But we're going to go ahead and just stick with the basic 3-star Fran. Basically the first 6-star everybody in the game builds. Fran's going to protect us from that Carcano getting a defense break on anywhere, honestly. And as long as the Carcano doesn't have a defense break, or as long as the defense break goes into the Leo, we're fine. So you can see the Han not able to do enough damage without being able to land his own defense break. Carcano now cannot defense break my Leo. We can go in and actually just start working on this Han right here. This dot might, not quite enough, but pretty close. And then, of course, Leo just mitigating the speed damage. We just took the Han's attack, and it's over from here. All right, and because I don't just want to be picking on Miku, we're actually going to go in and do this on my own defenses a couple of times as well. So since I just flexed that Julienne, let's point out that we could do the exact same thing here with the Julienne. Just bring in a dark monster to tank the Julienne. Leo's already pulling the damage from the Carcano. Alright guys, not gonna lie, I tried for about 15 minutes to film Carlos in Arena, and he's not consistent enough in any of the comps I could come up with using free-to-play units. Now that doesn't mean that he's not good in Arena or useful in Arena. It means that none of my monsters are speed-tuned or built for that specific type of comp, and unfortunately guys, I legitimately have 800,000 mana and I can't move runes around for the video. So I just couldn't get anything to work with the runes and builds that I have right now. I don't want to show you guys comps unless I know that they work. So I do think Carlos would be pretty viable in Arena. I think you have to, I think the Carlos Leo X is one of the major ways to go. The other thing you could do would be a P-Sama, Bastet, Kali Carlos. I do think that team would actually work. So you're going to use the Kali to take a kill, which will give Carlos attack bar and attack power, and then he will have an attack buff already, and he should be able to take a second kill. But again, those are comps that I haven't tested because things weren't runed specifically for those builds. For example, Carlos is ruined obviously for a crit rate lead, and so using him with a speed lead, he's too likely to miss crits. On that note guys, you can see the Carlos. I don't think he's the most broken unit ever in the history of Summoner's War, but I do think that when you pair him with Leo, it makes for a really, really good comp in guild offense and siege offense, and I think he's a lot of fun. He's got a crazy badass animation. He actually has a really good look. Kind of looks like the Dark unit a little bit, but yeah, really cool unit. So guys, on that note, as always, appreciate you watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time. Hey, it is Zenio. Oh, no, wait, this is the outro. My bad. Hey guys, if you want to see more content, please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell notifications. It's your support that makes me want to create continuing content. I thank you guys for the support, as always, and we'll see you in the next video.